The last time you opened your electricity bill without feeling a knot in your stomach? When was that exactly? Not a mild surprise. That moment when you see the numbers, read them again and think, how is this possible? How can it cost this much just to be home, just to not freeze, just to exist inside four walls? And you close the envelope, or you close the tab, and you tell yourself it's fine. You'll cut back somewhere else. You'll figure it out. But deep down you know the truth. Next month, it's going to be the same, or worse. If you're watching this video, you've already been there. You've already felt that mix of anger, helplessness, and quiet resignation that comes with every billing cycle. That feeling that no matter what you do, you're always one step behind. Always paying, always depending. And the worst part isn't the money itself. The worst part is the feeling that you have no way out, that you're trapped inside a system someone designed specifically to keep you dependent, not by accident, by design, forever. Today, that changes, because there is a solution that won't cost you $10,000 or $20,000, a solution that doesn't require engineers, architects, installation companies, or maintenance contracts, a solution that doesn't require you to sign anything, finance anything, or call anyone. A solution that has been working for more than 3,000 years and that the energy industry has done everything in its power to make sure you never find out about. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear is going to change the way you think about your home, your energy, and your money. Look at your last energy bill. Really look at it. Pages and pages of numbers, concepts, taxes, fixed charges, variable charges, contracted power, consumed energy, distribution fees, regulatory fees, and a dozen other line items you've never understood and never questioned. Do you know why it's so complicated? It's not an accident. It's a decision. The harder it is to understand, the less likely you are to question it, the less likely you are to compare it, the less likely you are to look for alternatives, the less likely you are to leave the system. And the system is designed with brutal, deliberate precision to keep you exactly where you are, confused, dependent, paying. Think about it. Every time it gets cold, you turn on the heat. The thermostat rises, the meter spins, and somewhere in a glass tower, a number goes up on a spreadsheet. Because you have no choice. Because your house, like most modern houses, was built to consume energy, not to conserve it. Thin walls, cold floors, ceilings that let the heat escape before it ever reaches your body. That's not bad architecture. That's architecture of dependence. And when you finally reach your breaking point, when you say, enough is enough, I want out, I want my own system, I want to stop depending on these people, that's when the industry comes in with its second trap. They offer you solutions, beautiful, modern, technological solutions, geothermal heat pumps, underfloor radiant heating with pipes and condensing boilers, solar thermal systems connected to heat distribution networks, smart thermostats, energy management apps, all very sleek, all very efficient, all very convincing, and all with an installation bill between $10,000 and $20,000. $10,000 on the low end for a basic system in a small house, before complications, before extras, before the things they didn't mention in the quote. And if you don't have that money, which most people don't, they smile and slide you the financing brochure. 5 years, 10 years, low monthly payments, flexible terms, of course, with interest, with fees, with a contract that ties you to their service network for the next decade. Do you see the trap? But there's something they don't tell you, something that exists outside their system entirely, something that doesn't require financing, doesn't require a contract, doesn't require a technician, and doesn't send you a bill at the end of the month. Something so ancient, so simple, and so devastatingly effective that when you see it, you're going to ask yourself one question: how did I not know about this? Now, I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Actually, don't. Keep watching. But imagine this. It's midnight in the middle of winter. The temperature outside has dropped well below freezing. The wind is hitting the windows, the kind of night where you'd normally be dreading tomorrow's meter reading. Inside your house, no system is running. No boiler cycling on and off, no electric resistance pulling kilowatts from the grid, no pump circulating anything anywhere. Silence. And yet, the floor is warm. Not uncomfortably hot, not radiating like a fireplace, just warm, steadily, evenly, perfectly warm. And that warmth rises slowly from the surface, fills the lower half of the room where your body actually lives, wraps around your feet and your legs and your core. Your house is sitting at a comfortable temperature, cozy, quiet,
and it's costing you absolutely nothing at this moment. How is this possible? Because 6 hours ago, that afternoon, you lit your wood stove. You burned wood for 2, maybe 3 hours, and the heat that stove generated didn't disappear into the air and escape through the ceiling. It was absorbed by the floor, soaked into the mass of the material beneath your feet, stored there like a battery stores electricity. And now, hours later, in the coldest part of the night, the floor is slowly releasing that stored energy back into the room. This is not experimental. This is not a prototype. This is not a crowd-funded concept that might ship next year. This is basic, proven physical reality. And it is exactly what a properly built rammed earth floor does. The system is simple, radical in its simplicity. You dig down. You lay insulation at the base, natural materials, cork, recycled glass, whatever you have access to keep the heat from escaping downward. Then you build up layers of compacted earth mixed with sand, packed tight layer by layer until you have a dense, solid mass. In some versions, you add straw as a natural fiber reinforcement. In others, channels are built in, small pathways beneath the surface through which warm air or warm water can flow directly from your heat source. On top of that mass goes your finishing layer, clay and sand and linseed oil, mixed and applied by hand and polished to a surface that is smooth, hard, and strikingly beautiful. You can add natural pigments, ochres, reds, creams, charcoals, and create a floor that looks like it belongs in a design magazine, except you built it yourself, with your hands, with materials you dug from your own ground. And then you connect it to a heat source. It can be a wood stove you already own. Light it for a few hours in the afternoon, and the floor does the rest of the work through the night. It can be a rocket mass heater, the most efficient wood-burning system ever designed. A rocket mass heater burns so completely, so cleanly, that it extracts nearly all of the available energy from a small amount of wood, a fraction of what a conventional stove would consume. The exhaust runs through channels beneath or alongside the floor, transferring heat directly into the mass before leaving the chimney. It can be solar thermal collectors on your roof, feeding warm water through tubes embedded in the floor. Free energy from the sun, stored in the earth, released through the night. You choose, based on what you have, based on where you live, based on what makes sense for your situation. And here is the number that should be making your jaw drop right now. $500. That is the low end of what this costs in materials, for a room, a real room, a room that will stay warm through a winter night without consuming a single watt of grid electricity. The high end, for a larger space with more refined finishes and a more complex heat integration system, reaches $2,000, maybe a little more if you hire someone to help with the physical labor. Compare that to the $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 that a conventional underfloor radiant heating system costs to install. Compare that to the ongoing fuel or electric costs of running that system every winter for the next 30 years. The math is not even close. Now here is what makes this real, not theory, not history, not physics. People. Ordinary people in ordinary houses in ordinary climates who decided they were done paying and built this themselves. There is a family in rural Portugal who renovated a stone farmhouse that had been cold and expensive to heat for decades. They had no construction background, no special tools. The husband had spent 20 years working in logistics. The wife was a school teacher. Together, over the course of 3 weekends, they laid a rammed earth floor in their main living space and connected it to a small rocket mass heater they built from reclaimed bricks and a salvaged metal barrel. Their total material cost was under €600. That winter, for the first time in the history of that house, the living room stayed warm through the night without anyone waking up to feed a fire. Their heating bill for that room dropped to nearly zero. There's a woman in the American Southwest who bought a small piece of land with a partially built structure and almost no budget. She had read about cob building and natural construction online and decided to apply the principles to her floor. She sourced her earth locally. She dug it herself from a corner of her own property. She bought sand and linseed oil. She spent $430 in total on materials. She built the floor over 2 weeks, working alone, using techniques she had learned from online communities and free documentation. 3 years later, that floor is still intact, still warm, and she has never paid a heating bill. There's a couple in southern France who were renovating a centuries-old stone house in the countryside. They had received quotes from 3 different contractors for underfloor heating. The lowest quote was €14,000. They walked away from all 3. A friend pointed them towards natural building forms. 6 months later, they had a complete thermal floor system running from a wood gasification stove, built entirely with local materials for less than 1,500 euros. Their contractor friends told them it wouldn't last. That was 4 winters ago. It has never cracked. It has never failed. It has never sent them a bill. These are not exceptional people. They're not engineers or architects or tradespeople. They are people who reached a breaking point, started asking different questions, and found answers that the mainstream conversation had buried. And they all say the same thing afterward. Not just that it works, but that they cannot believe it took them this long to find out it existed. That they feel a kind of anger, a quiet, steady anger, at a system that kept this from them for years while they kept paying and paying and paying. That anger is legitimate, and it is fuel. This floor is your heating system, your thermal battery, your aesthetic finish, your long-term investment, all built from materials the earth already provides, all assembled with skills any capable person can learn,
all owned completely and permanently by you. No contract, no maintenance plan, no technician on call, no monthly bill, no company that can raise the price on you next January when the weather gets bad and demand spikes and they know you have no choice. No choice, except now you do. So why don't they teach this in architecture schools? Why don't contractors propose it? Why don't the magazines that cover home renovation ever feature it? Because it is a catastrophic threat to an industry built on your dependence. Think about what this floor represents from a business perspective. A one-time build, local materials, no supply chain, no recurring revenue, no service contract, no replacement parts, no software update, no annual inspection fee, no reason ever to call a professional again. The construction industry needs you to need them. The energy industry needs you to need them. The financing industry needs you to need them. A floor built from earth that heats itself from a wood fire makes you need none of them, and that terrifies them. So they write building codes around conventional systems. They train architects on conventional systems. They fund research into conventional systems. They advertise conventional systems. And they let the knowledge of what is actually possible quietly disappear from the mainstream conversation. But it never disappeared entirely. There are communities around the world, builders, permaculture designers, natural architects, homesteaders, who never stopped using this knowledge, who have been refining it, documenting it, teaching it to anyone willing to learn, who have built homes that stay warm through brutal winters without a single connection to the energy grid. And that community is growing because people are waking up, because the bills keep rising, because the frustration reaches a point where people start asking different questions. You are watching this video, which means you are one of those people.